What's up, folks? Welcome to another great episode of the Sports Scientist Podcast. It's me, the host you don't like or care about, Dr. Rodriguez. Like a Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz doctor, something like that, but like urban. And your other two hosts, Dr. James Hoffman and Dr. Mike Israelito.
I would say it's good to be here with you guys, but I hate myself. It's good to be nowhere.
Dude, do you guys think Dr. Phil's like actually a creep in real life?
I have no idea what his actual qualifications are. Is he actually a doctor?
I don't know.
Like a Dr. Sebi doctor or?
Dr. Sebi. James, do you know who Dr. Sebi is?
Whispers. I don't know.
Marcos.
That's because you're not woke, James.
Tell the world.
I don't want to get it wrong.
So it's basically like my Honduran step uncle who decided he was going to cure cancer, HIV, and herpes through fasting and alkaline diets. Apparently, he cured many millions and trillions of people that no one's ever heard of, seen, or accounted for.
That's because they have so much money and they're so successful now that they all have like private islands and shit, right?
Fear not, though. Nick Cannon is coming out with a movie that he's helping produce about Dr. Sebi. So
Really?
That's going to be great. Yeah.
Is it like Step Up 17?
That, man, I have never actually seen any of the Step Up movies, but I am just fascinated with the nomenclature. It's like Step Up 3, The Streets, Underground. You're like, how many fucking subtitles?
There's like as many Step Up movies as there are like those Now compilation albums.
Yes.
Now 400.
25. Yeah.
Does Channing Tatum do like RP templates to like get ripped for that?
I don't know. You know who does? Sheamus from WWE.
Yeah, that dude is looking fucking jacked. Good for him.
He's like the biggest ginger person ever.
Yeah.
It's like you, but like Prometheus size.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like
You mean
ancestral
like the guy from
alien
Prometheus
god
guy?
ginger guy. Yeah. If it was like the Prometheus man, but they would have like pale skin and red hair.
All right. James, I want a 20-second summary of the Prometheus movie plot. Go.
Oh, there's aliens. We should do things that we don't want to do. Kill ourselves. All right.
Oh, that's exactly it. And then a man
I like that
who's
movie.
Giant fights a giant squid.
That was one, like, if you're an Alien fan, like, it grew on me the first time we saw it together, I think, in Johnson City. I was like, this was stupid. And then the more I watched it, the more I kind of, like, appreciated it. But there's some, like, huge, just, like, stupid parts in the movie, for sure.
Well, that's because conceptually, you're like, this could be really dope if it's done right. But then you're like, what?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Big problem in my book with that movie was that I cannot get scared if people don't act like you would expect them to. Like the scientists were like, "Hey, look, new life form! Oh, it's eating me!" There's this dark hallway and nowhere to fucking look. Let's go down it. I'm like, yeah, man. I just, the real scary movies are like, man, I would do that, and then they get fucked. You're like, fuck! Oh my god! Like I would never fucking in my wildest dreams be like such an idiot. And at some point, you just want them to die.
All right, Mike.
Theron was awesome in that movie.
Who?
Mike James.
I think it was Charlize Theron, right? Is that who the actress was?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that was her, but I think it was the Swedish girl. It was the Swedish girl who did Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. She's great.
Yeah, when she lit that dude on fire,
Fassbender.
I was like, she's not going to do it.
Great.
Fassbender is great everywhere. Marcos,
yeah.
do you have like when someone instructs you to think of white women do you close your eyes and like the gun racks in the Matrix fly by you and you're like, yep.
Maybe like 1,000 lifetimes ago. Now it's just automatic. Now it's like the Rolodex is just pop, pop, pop like magic.
Okay. Damn.
But I got an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I got an idea. We're going to start a GoFundMe where we're going to reproduce every movie, remake it, but with urban people that I know. So Prometheus, instead of a group of scientists, it'll be like a group of like street people.
Drug dealers.
Hold on. How street are we talking? Because there's guys on your block that's just chilling. Then there's like guys dealing, and then there's actual homeless people, and then there's meth addict homeless people. Which one of that
We don't have meth in my part of the neck of the woods. But what we could do, sort of like the Predator one with Adrian Brody, we could get like one hood dude from like 10 of the most hood neighborhoods, throw them on a fucking alien planet, and be like, "Yo, oh shit, B, look at this. Yo, that's the egg, yo. That's crazy, though. Yo, fry that shit up, though. Yo, put some Henny on that shit. All right."
This sounds like a perfect Chappelle Show skit.
Yeah.
Man, the predator hunting would be so easy. They'd be like, these guys have no idea how to operate their weapons. They're not coordinated at all.
They instantly started fighting themselves.
They're fighting each other. This is stupid.
Yo, I like your sneakers, B. What size are they?
Look, man, we're all on this planet together.
Size.
You'd be like, we're all on this planet together. Like, yo, that means I'm going to have them shoes, son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm the only motherfucker on this planet with them Jordans on. You feel me? Drop them shits.
Remember when Leprechaun did that? Where they had like Leprechaun in
the hood. Yes. It would play on USA Tonight at every Halloween. You're just like, holy shit. Even the Leprechaun was like, oh, these people are amazing.
Yo, real talk though, the Leprechaun freaked me out.
High as
that shit.
Fuck. Oh, yeah.
Right. No, dude, like I was scared of the shit of that fucking Leprechaun, man. I did not handle that well. I was
creepy as fuck.
Young or something. Dude, there must have been a movie. I don't know if it was one of the Leprechaun series, but like I remember like 5 minutes out of this movie, like this like Leprechaun dude, which I assume is the Leprechaun, but you never know. He's like in an apartment, and a guy like tries to like bring a gun up to him, and he doesn't know how to shoot from a distance apparently, but he like says, man, he's got this revolver, and Leprechaun like touches the revolver or something like that, and the revolver like melts. And then the guy turns into like a fucking piece of shit on the ground. Like he's just like turns into this brown thing, and then he's just a piece of shit. I'm just like, that's freaky as fuck. And the Leprechaun didn't look right. I don't.
Well, it's because the Leprechaun has bad skin. If he was like a beautiful, like exfoliated and shit, I'd be like, oh, it's cute.
It's pretty cool.
Again,
what did you guys think of the movie Bright? With Will Smith.
Will Smith.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
I liked it a lot. Marcos?
I'm not a big Will Smith fan because he doesn't curse and he likes to beat up his boyfriends. And he probably drinks a lot of adrenochrome.
Shut up, man.
Stuff you hear.
What are you talking about?
Explain that shit.
Apparently he was like banging some dude who then told everybody that him and Will Smith were banging, and then allegedly Will Smith beat him up. Just Google it.
People lie though, right?
Look into it, man.
You mean like he's on the down low?
I don't know, because him and his wife are pretty like pretty much themselves. So they're like, I think they're open about all that shit. But I don't think he's like explicitly like, I like to bang dudes. But if he does, then cool for him. But
Jada Pinkett Smith is one of the finest people God ever created.
Okay, cool. So anyway, the cool thing about Bright, right. Conceptually, it's cool, but I'm waiting for the next the sequels to come out.
Is that on its way?
Allegedly.
I like
everything is allegedly here.
They just kind of skirt enough of like history where you're like, okay, this is fine. But then like if you look back any further than like 15 or 20 years, they have a lot of like work to do plot wise and like story building wise. You know what I mean? They're like they got you just into it enough where you're not questioning like what happened historically. You're just like, okay, this seems fine, whatever.
Yeah. Well, like apparently like 1,000 years ago or something, the orcs like backed the wrong motherfucker.
Excuse me. He doesn't like orcs. Hey,
we don't use that word.
No racial discrimination here in my house. Dwarves, elves, orcs.
Yeah, I guess they are a race.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, they are a race because you can interbreed with them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and D&D, like one of the common races you get is half orc, which means somebody boned a regular orc, and they had a,
James,
half-orc offspring.
An orc bitch, would you?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. Big
ass teeth. I mean, it's like if you're into IFBB pros, like it's basically the same, with teeth.
Marcos, you be all in the elvish bullshit, huh? You little soft bitch.
Well, yeah, elves, halflings, dwarves, fairies.
Marcos, fairies are the size of your dick.
Never mind. Well, fuck it, they can get it too.
That's what's up. Hug it like
everybody needs some love. Holla.
There's a really fun campaign.
Dryads.
Where,
what the fuck is that?
That's
like wood people.
Forest.
Talk like to you, man, James.
Dude, you're on it. You're on it. There's a really cool campaign setting called Eberron where the orcs actually like save the world. So they're like they're still orcs, but they're like generally revered instead of feared. It's kind of a fun setting to play in.
Orcs are generally supposed to be dumber.
Yeah.
How dumb are we talking about? Like under
Ooga.
the average human subpopulation, or like somewhere in like just like this the kid in your class that would be like just getting like D's? Or are we talking about
Special
orcs that
ed.
barely read? Right. Like where are they at as far as like just take an average American classroom. Where are they at as far as like what are they scoring on tests? You feel me?
They're like the low performers.
Okay, but they can like write and read and shit.
They
sometimes.
like scribble like shapes and shit.
Marcos, we making
Until
shit
you
up,
have
man.
a mutant. The mutants tend to have higher intellect.
Yeah. But then they don't fit in with the other or the orcish community, and they get.
But that's why they lead them. No, that's why they lead them. They're like, yo, Ooga Booga, fucking Walla Walla, come over here. We're going to go fuck up some elves. They've been shooting arrows at us too long. I'm not having it anymore. Equal rights for everyone.
And some things they use, like the orcs are like pig men and not like what you think of like in Lord of the Rings.
Totally. Yeah, they're pig-like.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Lord of the Rings, you had like the orcs and the super orcs, right?
Uruguay.
The orcai, yeah. Like the goblin orc hybrid thing.
Yeah, the goblins are Goblins are the orcs that don't even have any utility. At least orcs can like.
Don't ask me this on TV.
Marcos, have you seen what's it called?
Good.
Goblin. I think it's called Goblin Slayer. It's anime.
So it's a great manga. I know Mike hates all these questions. The anime does not do justice to the manga.
Really?
I'll send you the link for the manga. It is doo-doo compared to the manga. You miss a lot of things in between. It's great, but it's way better. I'll send you the link. Sorry, Mike.
So, Mike, there's a show that's like an anime, and the theme is this guy who only wants to kill goblins, and it starts off, and you're like, oh, this is like a fantasy anime, and it goes right into rape, and you're like, whoa, this is not what I thought was happening on this show.
Who is he raping exactly?
Goblins are like raping other
humans,
adventurers,
impregnating them,
and he has this like massive vendetta to kill all of them. It just goes off in a direction you didn't see coming, and you're like, oh my god.
It's dark or realistic.
Japanese or no?
See,
it's anime, so it's in Japanese.
Okay. The
Koreans are getting a lot of anime out.
Yeah, for sure. Do the Japanese take well to that sort of? Or what would you guys call that tradition of like? Is it the J.R. Tolkien? Like, who came up with that shit first? The goblins, dwarves. You know, there's like this one construct around like the sort of Lord of the Rings-ish universe, and there's just different variations of it. Like it's clearly Northern European in origin, right? But like, do Japanese manga like they take pretty well to that, and they get their own universes going on top, or is it mostly something they stay out of?
They love that shit. There's been like a huge resurgence of like fantasy, like anime,
elves
lately.
And shit.
And they've actually gone to like the modern age where like there's a lot of fantasy animes that are set in like an MMORPG type setting, which is really, really nerdy, really weird. But there's a lot of that stuff now. It's crazy.
Well, that's like World of Warcraft type stuff, right?
Yeah, so it's basically they make an anime that has like World of Warcraft rules for their universe, and then they just take off.
Overlord,
yep.
But J.R. Tolkien wrote his shit like during World War I or World War II. I forget.
Was he the first to front those mainstream?
I don't know.
No,
he came up with like their own languages, and he took it to another level.
No front.
It's like he
definitely
his imagination.
It.
Yeah. Okay. So he is a big part of popularizing it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so a lot of people had read the Lord of the Rings books way before they saw it. Like, a lot of people read the books before the movies came out, right?
Oh yeah. The books have been out for a long time.
Especially for I think people like our age, like Masters Division.
And a lot of people got into like The Hobbit, and then that, got them into Lord of the Rings and etc.
Yeah. You know what? I got to be completely honest. Like, the Lord of the Rings movies, especially the three main ones that came out in sequence, man, was that a knockout, amazing job. I know they didn't do justice to the books fully or whatever, and everyone's always going to have a problem with that, but it's just like, I remember watching the first Lord of the Rings movie and just being like, this is unbelievable. Like, holy crap. And then the second one was great. And the third one was great. And I was like, man, this is talk about a hell of a production and just really just doing a good job. Like, it's like what's the Marvel Universe movies? They just did a fucking phenomenal job with all that stuff. And what a huge round of applause. Like, just the how much just happiness and pleasure they brought to people by making those three movies. Like, I must have seen those movies, like, I'm not even super big on that kind of stuff. I must have seen those movies so many times. You know what I mean? Just because they're so good. It's just My dad fell asleep twice during Lord of the Rings.
Ah.
He fell asleep once. He woke up in the theater. He woke up and like a goblin was like, ah, and he's like, what the hell? And he just goes back to sleep.
I actually read the books, and I think the movies did a really nice job because a lot of the books is just like a bunch of bullshit where they're just like walking, or there's this really whacked out character named Tom Bombadil that is like the annoying as fuck throughout the book, and they just excluded him entirely. And like I think they did a good job of like streamlining it down into those movies. And I liked the books, but the books were like, it's a bit much. If you ever get a chance to read the books, it's like there'll be stretches of like 60 pages where they're just fucking walking through the forest.
What were your guys' least favorite inclusions, plot lines, or like characters in the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Because mine, by far,
was the bromance with the hobbits. Got it.
Thanks, Marcos. But I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? I know you could have predicted that, but does that make me cliche or does it just make me right? Maybe both. Like, mostly this. Oh, Sam, Frodo, Sam. Like, shut
Mr. Frodo.
shut
Mr.
up.
Frodo.
Finally, when Sam, right, when he finally stabbed somebody, I was like, yes.
They laid it down pretty thick. Yeah.
It was awful.
The one thing they don't give you a good sense of in the movie is like the time. So in the book, they really highlight like how much actual time they spent together, and it's way longer than they kind of portrayed in the book. In the book, it seems like it was like maybe a year or so, or in the movie, excuse me. And then in the books, it's like, I think it's decades. I don't remember, but it was a long time. Yeah, it's a long fucking time throughout the adventure. Yeah. So I think like that's part of it where like you don't have the scale of time. So they have this like strength. The bond seems kind of weird, and you know,
like, yo, dude, back off.
Back
man.
off.
I don't know
Sam.
you like
yeah,
that.
come on. Yeah, but you know, in the books they highlight that it's they've been adventuring for so long.
Wait, RP Urban Production presents Lord of the Rings. Like, yo, man, back up off me, B. Fuck you mean? Yo,
and then
I'm going to no Mount Doom, son. I gotta go to the strip club first, B.
Yo, I'm taking this ring to the fucking pawn shop, son.
Fuck out of here, man. Yo, word up.
That ring would get pawned so fucking fast.
Do you know where those guys eat at? Lord of the Wangs.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
About to go rob Gandalf right now. I know he got that good liquor. You know what I mean?
Gandalf also is like a fucking drug treasure trove, man. You know he's dealing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm trying
to break into his house.
Gandalf.
Try to break into his house. His hologram pops up. You shall not pass.
Fuck. I wouldn't break into Gandalf's house. I feel like that's a bad idea.
That's a bad idea.
Steal his horse.
Straight zap your dumb ass.
Shadow
dude.
facts.
Yeah, that horse. You can't steal that shit. He would fuck you up. How many?
Giving it off edibles.
True. How many? Jesus Christ! How many street people would be able to competently steal a horse?
Oh my God, 0.
No, you don't know shit about. What do you know about
shoot the horse first?
Look at this. This is what I know.
Oh, he can steal a horse.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, look. One crackhead.
Crackhead's not getting on a horse. Are you crazy?
Get a horse. That's how you get killed.
Yeah, dude.
Negative. I don't know what crackheads y'all got in Philly, but the ones out here, I don't know, fam.
Please, where are you living at? Harlem? That
Washington.
shit is royalty. Those are royal crackheads. We got bottom of the barrel.
All
Nobody
right.
ever goes, oh, you're a crackhead in Philly. You guys are fancy. Philly, you don't want to be a crackhead in Philly. We got the greatest. We got it's
the
like, the
will
race to
and
the top is the race to the
determination.
bottom.
Dude.
The will and determination that these guys have.
Not enough
Can't
to
beat
get a
that
day
shit.
job.
Fucking horse will buck a crackhead off so easily.
Dude. I mean, he's not going to know that he's dead, but he'll be dead.
One kick.
He's still going.
It's over. Horses are so skittish.
All right, real quick. So now we've taken this podcast into a terrible turn. Difference between crackheads and zombies. Go.
One needs to eat.
Right.
Crackheads don't need to eat. That's the thing.
Right. All right. Okay.
Zombies
I thought you meant
need to
crackheads need to eat. Right.
Heart rate, body temperature.
Same.
Shit, I don't know.
Zombies won't suck dick for money.
True. Zombies are not capable of any kind of reasonable interaction. Where crackheads, you could be like, look, let's level here.
I
There
want
are
some
things
crack.
you want, and you can communicate. Maybe. In Philly, we have a heroin situation, and people do the lean, where they like stand on the block and they just kind of like lean forward, and their limbs are dangling. It's a trip to watch people lean but not fall, and I'm not sure why they're not sitting down. And why?
feel like
Also, why they're in the middle of nowhere? Like all these people they're not homeless, by the way. They have homes. They just
Well, you go to
they're in
any
the middle of the
methadone
street.
clinic, and we got tons
I
of
have
those
never
in
been to a
New York.
methadone clinic. What are you talking about?
Marcos, have you been to a methadone clinic?
You're crazy.
Oh man, but like fucking, they're all over the city. So every time you're around them, you like are walking by them. There's like a gaggle of fucking
Yeah,
zombies.
Like, there was a methadone clinic actually not too far from my house because I would pass it on the way to driving to Temple, and there would always just be a gaggle of zombies outside there. I'd see that every morning driving to Temple.
And you're like, how the fuck does that guy has great ankle flexibility, and they're like just like in the deepest squat you've ever seen.
Pretty impressive. Always impressive.
The ankle flexibility is what's impressive.
To me.
I liked Dave Chappelle's crackhead character.
Tyrone Biggums.
Yeah. When he lifts up the bus for like a penny or whatever. Amazing. Or he like gives the class, like they gives like drug education to like the students.
You don't want to call like Rodriguez. I guess it was Rodriguez, wasn't it, that he said?
I don't remember, but that skit was fucking hilarious. And he got the red balls and like burst out of prison. Bailiff, can I have a red balls, please? And he just
man, you guys want to answer a couple sports psychology questions?
oh boy.
I guess. Let's
Oh
do it.
boy. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So, how would you go about explaining exercise as a reward rather than a punishment to an individual reluctant to exercise?
Well, it might be a hard sell. Like if they're reluctant to exercise, it might not be a reward in and of itself, right? So it might, if it's not something that they intrinsically value, like if you offered Mike the ability to do more exercise beyond what he was already, physically limited to doing, he would probably jump on it because he just really enjoys it. It's something that he values. Same with myself, and I would guess Marcos to some degree too. But if it's something that they're already like are not into, it's kind of hard to reframe it in a way that is positive. There are ways you can do it and say like, hey, this is going to help you, give you the opportunity to work towards your goals, work towards making your body composition better, work towards your sporting endeavors, all those things. But again, if it's not something that they actually find rewarding, it's hard to repackage it that way.
Who fucking commented that? Buffalo Bill? It's like, why would you be punishing anyone anyway? Or is it like a sub-dom kind of thing? I'm very confused.
Sport coaches use it for punishment. That's
sport coaches use it for punishment. And I think that people tend to see it as punishment. So Marcos, to rephrase it for your neck of the woods, if you got a client that comes to you for training and they just see exercise as this like super negative, hateful chore, people show up, and you've had tons of clients like this, no doubt. They show up and they're like, oh, all right, let's do it. Go ahead and kill me. And do you ever try to rephrase it to them or try to coach them along, try to maybe have more open mind or see it a little differently, maybe like a marginal step towards eventually enjoying? What's your take?
Okay, that makes sense now. I thought you meant like, well, okay, I'm going to break somebody down. No, well, I try to, it's a little bit of like street magic, right? I just try to talk them through some things and just keep them busy and moving. Because if they're there and they have that attitude inherently, to me, they're lazy pieces of shits. No offense to all you lazy pieces of shits. That's fine. I know how to hack you. And just take it at their, just push them enough where they don't detest it and they come back if it's a client. But you sort of have to push the envelope, man. If you don't know how to inspire or like educate your clients, then I don't know if that's like the right client or relationship that you want, period. Because that's just awkward for everyone. You trying to enforce your will on someone else is just kind of weird.
Sure.
And like there's strategies to get them to comply with what you're saying, but it's very hard to get someone to feel rewarded to do something that they don't want to do. Like there's not like a magic catchphrase or a cue that you can just throw at them and they're like, oh, I love exercise now.
Right. I think that's definitely not something you want to look for. I don't think it exists. I will say that in my experience, it has been beneficial to take the approach of meeting them where they are and sort of trying to like open them up to maybe getting a little bit more, first, not more positive, just less negative.
Yes.
But like it all starts with a reality check. It'd be like, listen, I'm not here to tell you this is going to be amazing and fun and you're going to love it, because you may not. And I know you hate it right now, and I 100% feel you on that. Look, it sucks. Lifting weights hurts. It's heavy and blah. But, some cool things are going to happen. And eventually, like, you get used to it and you start to sort of get stronger, and that's kind of cool. And you build on momentum, and it actually gets easier as you go. And then eventually you might not hate it really all that much. You know, when you tell people that, because people are scared of two things anytime they train, especially when they begin training and they hate it. Thing one is the pain and suffering and hate they're going to experience right now. Thing two is like all of the cumulative sessions they'll ever do in the future piling onto them and causing them anxiety, you know, because if it's just one session you have to do now and then you're fit, you'd be like, let's get this done, no problem. But they sort of know, like, oh my God, like, not only is it Monday, Wednesday, Friday I train, it's going to be an hour of this bullshit for the next 5 months for me to get in shape for my wedding. And if you can let them know, like, look, yeah, today's going to kind of stink, but actually this stuff isn't really that bad. It gets better, and you might actually learn to like it a little bit later. They're like, okay, cool. So they don't expect to love it right now, which isn't going to happen. I mean, you admitted to them it's not. And then you also say, like, yeah, you know, be easy. Like, we might actually have some fun. What do you think? And they're like, okay. And then you pepper in the Marcos stuff where you keep them moving, keep them a little distracted, keep the jokes going, do some fun stuff, push them a little bit, get them to challenge, get them to succeed, congratulate them on improving their performance. Be like, well, you did 2 more reps this week than last week. You this week. Good job. Let's do it. Let's keep going. And then plenty of positive reward. And then after a few weeks, you know, they're like, man, I feel like I'm building something here. And I'm kind of used to it. Also, a lot of people like to feel a sense of competency and ownership, you know, like when it's their squat technique and their squat reps and they know things and they're in charge. Like a lot of times I'll have clients that are first reluctant, like 3 weeks in, they're like, I got 2 more reps. And it's like, wow, there you go. And once they start owning that, it turns out to be like, they may still not love training, but they're like, yeah, training's a thing. I get in there and get it done. You know, it's funny because a lot of people want training to this thing fall in love with. A lot of people aren't in love with their job. They're not in love with taking care of their kids. They still do that shit. How many people love brushing their teeth? I, for one, don't really hate it much, but I don't really love it. You know, like that's the way it gets done. If you start at that neutral area, potentially you can get people to really love it. But I wouldn't promise that. You know, I think one of the, maybe not worst, but like sort of saddest coaching situations I've seen many times is like super psychotic, completely passionate, in love with it fitness professional who's got that like starry-eyed cult look, and they're like, you're gonna love it, we're gonna change your life. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. This is very unlikely. Also, you're a shitty advertiser for that because they think you're nuts. And like, let people ease on in, man. It's not for everyone, but you can have more fun than you are now. And eventually the people that are gonna love it, they're gonna grow to love it anyway if you're a really good trainer. But that's not for everyone, and you at least meet people real world. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Chael Sonnen had a really excellent bit on his podcast this week about like motivation and like MMA athletes and stuff. It was really funny. If you guys have a free minute.
What was the TLDR?
It was like, you can't expect to like treat MMA or any he was talking about anything, but he was talking about a couple MMA fighters in particular who had mentioned that they weren't feeling super motivated. And he was like, yeah, no shit. I lost my motivation when I was like 22 years old. It became a job. It became work. And then he went on this huge rant. He was like, how much do you want? Like, you get to be a world champion. You get to get paid for doing a sport, which is basically a game. And that's what children do. And you expect to be happy at the same time? Like, go fuck yourself. It was so funny. It was really good. You just can't have it all. And he was like, on top of it, they're handsome.
Yeah, that's, man, I had a talk with a colleague of mine who will remain nameless, but he has an opportunity to work with a ton of really high-level MMA guys, where we were talking about what percentage of them are super dedicated to diet and training and weight cutting during the off-season versus fight camp. And a huge, vast number of very top level MMA guys are just like nowhere to be found outside of camp. And it's a trip because people like winning, they like banging hoes, they like having money, and they like getting into the ring and exchanging punches. But a lot of times, and then the training, that's really tough, and the consistency's tough. They can get motivated for fight camp, but once fight camp is over, a lot of those guys, like, man, they don't train year round remotely. And I think the name, like, this wasn't per this conversation, but from my understanding, Conor McGregor's name has come up as someone who trains in fight camp. And then outside of fight camp, it's like mostly alcoholism as far as I can tell.
Dude, look at Mike Tyson.
What was his deal?
He's trying to make a comeback
with him.
Well, when Customato died, he just went to shit. He like started hanging out with RP Urban Production characters and actors, And he just went down the spiral. The night before he fought Buster Douglas, he was out like banging hoes, doing coke, and all this shit.
Holy crap!
And that was like, the fall of his fucking immaculate, incredible career.
Yeah,
towards the start of the downward spiral.
He's thinking about doing some exhibition matches soon, which would be really fun to see him.
That's a trip.
I mean, he's what, in his 50s now? He's like 53 or something like that?
Yeah, 53, I think.
James Buster Douglas. That's different from the adult film star Buster Good.
Or Bust a Nut.
Is that really a name? Because Buster Good is a real person.
Of all the things, like that pissed you off, really? He's shaking his head at me because he thought it was so lame.
Where do you think the Mr. Marcos comes from?
Oh.
Damn. You know what? Oh yeah, that's right. He is a porn star. It's funny. James Buster Douglas is a son of professional boxer William Dynamite Douglas. That's kind of trippy. Talk about genetics. Holy crap.
Yeah, how about it?
All right. Next question is also very good, I thought. Does the placebo effect make any difference to hypertrophy? And if so, how so? I think the placebo effect can make a difference in hypertrophy if it enhances your adherence. So if you think your little protein shake makes you stronger, and it's sort of, you drink your little shake and you go train, and it gives you this idea that you're, better. It might not even have, it potentially let you train harder because of just the straight placebo effect. Though I don't think training harder at any one time is going to cause more hypertrophy. It might a little bit. But I think that the adherence thing comes in is like when you have your little protein shake or whatever you take, your little vitamin supplement, and it makes you consistently show up to the gym. It's like a ritual thing. Even if it doesn't do anything, because it's ritualized, you're more likely to be more adherent to the gym. Another thing, for example, is like if you take a multivitamin like once a day, or creatine's a good example. Creatine, like when people, like you see this with bros too, when they do like a training cycle, like I'm not even talking about like a drug cycle, like an actual training cycle of like, okay, I got to get in shape, I want to get jacked. A lot of times they'll start, they buy creatine, they'll start taking it. And, until the jug runs out, they take 5 grams every day and they go to the gym, and they're kind of like less likely to not go to the gym because they're like, well, I took my creatine this morning. You know what I mean? It gets to be a ritual. And it's sure the creatine works, but even if you gave them bland powder, I think it would just slightly enhance their probability of having that culture around getting in and doing what it takes and doing what it takes and doing what it takes.
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes like it's easy to look at supplements and placebo effect because we're mostly jaded thinking that supplements are usually not worth your money. But even something stupid like they might do an exercise or a sequence of exercises, or doing training deadlifts on the same day that you train your back is like another one. Like who knows? They might just find like certain things they think are working really, really well for them, or they think they got some kind of hack going. And as Mike was saying, that can really help with adherence. It can also just help with like confidence and efficacy and the willingness to put forth lots of effort, right? So you might have somebody who mostly trains kind of ho-hum, not so great, but on a few things that they are thinking is really working for them, they might actually be pushing the boundaries of like their MAV, MRV, which is just good in its own right? So things like that. You might have like downstream effects that you maybe didn't think about that are happening as a result of this placebo effect. The thing is, like, what you don't want to get in the habit of is like identifying things that could be potentially placebo effects and then trying to shatter the person's perception of whatever it is they're doing, because all that's going to do is cause problems between you and them. They're just going to double down and be like, well, I thought this was great. And you're like, no, that's stupid. I'm a sports scientist. You're stupid.
Yeah, just kind of let them do it. And then as they gain trust in you as a coach, they're going to be like, hey, are we still doing this one thing I used to? And you're like, you probably don't have to. You can take it or leave it. And at some point, they just leave most of the bad stuff and get on the good stuff.
Well, that's sort of like foam rolling too, right? It's like, well, the sports sciences says it doesn't work, but if it makes you feel better and you think it does something, fucking go for it.
Yeah,
foam roll away.
Gives you confidence to like. I think a lot of people.
I'm more flexible now.
Yeah, or they gives them confidence of like, I'm not going to get hurt because I foam rolled, and then they train hard. Versus if they don't foam roll, they sort of are real restrictive in their training.
If it feels good, do it.
And how impactful like is doing a 20 minutes of foam roll at that point, right? Outside of just opportunity cost, like Are they going to fuck
Yo.
anything up by doing that?
Yo, my man, take 100 milligram edible and foam roll and tell me that shit doesn't feel amazing.
Oh,
Did
man.
you say 100?
I may have said, yeah, totally 100.
Marcos, what do you think would happen if you took, so guys, just to reference the discussion, 1 gram of mushrooms gets you fucked up. 5 grams gets you, did you mean mushrooms or weed, Marcos?
I said weed, but
Okay, well, I could use a weed. 5 milligrams of edibles gets you fucked up. 10 to 20 gets you moon time. 100 gets you hospitalized with paranoia, as far as I know.
so I did 100 once, all kidding
You're
aside,
kidding.
Oh my
and it was
God.
not a good time.
Can you tell us about the?
And
Okay, so we answered
I-
all the questions now. Let's just finish this up with Marcos.
So I only did it because I've seen my brother take like an obscene amount, like 200 to 300, 400 milligrams. But my
What?
brother's, yeah, dude, he's like, he'll make Snoop Dogg. He's like on that Joey Coco Diaz like level. Like, it's just, I don't know. There's something wrong with him. His body's just like made for that shit. He's the chosen
my
one.
God.
I took
Fuck.
100 because I was like, he was like, stop being
That's
a,
so
stop being a
much.
pussy, just take it. And I was like, fine, whatever.
What
Bro,
does it even
if-
take? Marcos, how many candies is that? Did you eat a bag of fucking candy?
No, just one. It's called the Green Hornet. Anyway, so you take it. Tastes good. And then you get that, that nice little ride up. And I'm like, oh, the first like 15 minutes, I'm like, oh, I feel nice. And then after that, it was like,
Just keeps
I
going.
can't feel anything. Yeah. And it felt like my eyes were like rattling in my fucking like sockets. It was not a fun time. I was like, I need to go to sleep. And then it was just like the most panic inducing, like trying to fall asleep time ever.
Oh my
How
God.
long did
Not
it
a good
last?
time.
Yeah, how long did it last? Were you still high when you woke up?
Well, you're super groggy, right? So I don't know how much of that shit was like still in my liver. So I just had a big cup of coffee and 2 Advils to try to fucking shake it off. And I did that on a Saturday to Sunday, and all of Sunday was just a wash. It was not I was like somewhere in between like homeless person and zombie.
Fuck, man.
So like willing to suck some dick, but only if it's necessary.
Yeah, if my life depended on it, but I don't want to.
Right. I still have my ethics. Damn, dude. The most I've ever taken is like 20, and that, well, I think we told that story last time probably. With my walking through the shopping mall and not so sure my legs were going to keep going one after another. I'm like, oh wow, I've taken ambulation for granted my whole life. Now I can't.
Dude, 10 gets me like all sorts of fucked up. 5 is
But
like sweet spot.
I do feel like a lot of like every company that makes them, it's like, I don't know who's like, there's no like, no one who like tests these things. So it's like, this company may make a 5 that I'm like, I barely feel. This company makes a 5 that like puts me on my ass. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
I've had that happen. Yeah.
So
There's also like, I don't know anything about like digestion and what you had before and the mood. Like a lot of times it's really different and it's really unexpected.
Yeah.
don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, don't
Don't
do
do
them.
it.
Folks, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next time we'll answer probably even fewer of your questions and talk more about proposed movies that we're going to do.
RP Urban.
RP Urban coming out with tons of new films. We'll see you on the flip.
Rodriguez Teen, Weinstein, whatever. What?
Same
You
thing.
guys are on the same team? Ugh. Ooh. We have to distance ourselves from that.
Yeah, social distancing.
See ya.